Very welcome to everybody. Hello, good morning, buongiorno, and everything. And thank you to be with us today in this Team Teachers Talk. This Team Teachers Talk, it's let's say event, it's meeting that is inside of the Online Theater Academy, which is a new project that is born in the last months of last year. It is a way to continue and to explore new line of education and of research on theater online. The Online Academy is it's quite complex project because it's divided in several departments. There is the Russian department, there is the Team Teacher department with me, Christine Schmalor, Olga, Lapina, and Dimitris Tsiamis, and there is the Yuri Alshit School. So different block which moving somehow in the same direction, which is the exploring, the endless exploring of the theater's way, of the theater education, of the theater process. And the Team Teachers Talk is somehow a part is the moment that us as teacher we take to share idea, to share somehow contents and subject that are hot for us in some moment. And we like very much to open it for free for friends, new friends, colleagues, and whatever, to share more and more our idea about theater. So the subject of today, what was quite hot from the title for us, is the initiation of the actor. It was immediately hot because the word itself, initiation, it was immediately discussing between us. Because it's in English, it's we check, on the vocabulary English, it's first action to start something. But of course, initiation word itself, it's contain different aspects which are changing in the different languages. In Italian, it's a little bit a mixture. Of course, it's connected with the sacred, with the ritualistic stuff, but at the same time is used in the quite profane phrases as well. So it's somehow in between. And to me, it was somehow the right, how to say, the right mirror for the profession of the actors, because it's always in between something absolutely sacred and something absolutely profane, like theater itself somehow, the place itself, because it's connected really with different aspects, with different how to say in English, with different I don't know the word in English, sorry. with different aspects of the life, of the art and everything. So the initiation of actors, it's mean which is the first action, the first event that creates the possibility to define someone as actor. Which is the owner of this word? Who is the one that say to someone else, okay, you are actor or you are not actor? Or actor himself should define, I'm an actor. What happens? Which is the path? Which is the event inside of us that change our status? And let's say us, yes, I'm an actor. It's in Italy, it's quite cynic. We said that you are an actor when you pay taxes as actor. It's code. You change your code on the INPS office, and it's okay. You are paying taxes. Your profession is actors. It's clearly it's very practical, quite miserable understanding somehow. But at the same time, it's fixed. But inside of us is very different question. Because as actor, I could have several initiation. I could have different position, because it could be initiation to be actor, initiation of the work of the actor on the role. It's quite different subject as well. So it's I start with this open question to my dear colleague who like to start, Christine or Olga, to who really the definition of actor.
I will answer you.
Initiation. Olga, sit back.
Olga sits back. I will, no, I probably, that is wrong to say I will answer you, because not everyone has to answer, and for sure there are a lot of answers. I will, but since we had so strong discussion, and it was me as a German-speaking person, this strong discussion about initiation, I will pick up. But first of all, I would like to start with one quote, and it's from the German poet writer called Novalis. He's not so famous, I think, in international circumstances. Novalis, he said, "Jeder Mensch kann ein Künstler sein." Translated, every person can be an artist. And then Joseph Beuys, I think most of you know him, the artist, he transformed this quote into "Jeder Mensch ist ein Künstler." Every person or every human is an artist. This is, of course, already a quite strange transformation, because he transformed from the possibility into actuality, and thus created the awareness of one's own creative power. And this creative power is rooted in one's own thinking. I quote once more Beuys. He said, let me quote him correctly, "With that, I say nothing about the quality. I'm only saying something about the principal possibility that exists in every human being. I explain the creative as the artistic, and that is my concept of art." I just leave this to your disposal. I think it's quite important and discussable saying in all its aspects. I come back to our strong discussion when we decided about the title of our talk today. I already said in German, this meaning initiation is extremely strong. Somehow it's only one meaning. It is this spiritual experience of transformation, of entering in another status of being. Somehow immediately I was, my association was going to the Freemasonry, to the rituals in Mozart's Magic Flute. We know all of them. Everything is about receiving a higher degree of consecration. And we know from the different cultures, it's the various ritus, rites. Mostly they are connected and with the transformation from the child to the adult, mostly connected with fertility with the arts and creation. Again, makes sense, of course. And then the initiations to higher and higher knowledge. Inside, we are again with the Freemasonry. So I spoke and my friends told me, now please, Christine, calm down. Stop it. Look at the dictionary. Initiating means to start something. So don't exaggerate. And I said, okay, let's start from something. I agreed on this title. Still now, taking exactly what Riccardo already mentioned, the combination of it. Because it is really this starting to do something great. Starting to do something new. Starting probably to prepare yourself for a transformation. And now, please listen, I want to stress the word prepare. Because before I can initiate something new, in fact, I have to prepare this initiation. Otherwise, it's just, let's start. Okay, but what for? We are, again, together also with the initiation of preparing a ritual. You cannot just start a ritual. The preparation of a ritual is the most interesting part. The ritual is the ritual. Everyone knows how it's going. It's the preparation for the changing, preparation for the ritual. And I come to the practical artistic life. Most important part for the actor is to prepare to go on stage. Once you know your part, once you're playing, it's another subject. How to play and how to play every day, and so on and so on. But it's the preparation of the role. And each role, somehow, if you go into a role, you undergo the ritual of transformation. It is somehow inherent also in the initiation process. So we can say that acting and the art of acting is the constant circle of preparation to transform, to act in your transformed existence, to step out of your transformed existence. And now it's the question, when I come back, do I come back as the same person or do I come back changed? In fact, like from a ritual. I'm not sure if we every day, if you have a regular playing and every day routine in the theater, if you really change strongly every day, well, it's a little bit heavy. No, it's too much changings. But a little bit, I think everyone knows that if you come back from stage in the evening, something has changed. And this is probably the secret that I think old actors are looking much younger than young actors, because they are this constant renewal, this constant energy of changing and rebirthing themselves after all these transformations. It's incredible. So let's be practical. And I think this preparation is a question what we as teachers have to support. It's because people ask, well, I have to prepare. How? And here comes the teacher's profession into attention, because we should give our students the possibilities or the knowledge how to prepare. And I think most of you know that our teacher, Juri Alschitz, he is concerned with this subject for the last 20 or more than 20 years, because it is the subject of the lonely actor who is waiting perhaps for a job, then he gets one, gets engagement, waiting for the first rehearsal or for the meeting on the set, meeting the director, but how to prepare. And how do I go there? As actor who says, so tell me what to do, somehow as a servant, or as someone who is prepared and comes there as at eye level, with propositions, with an artistic personality, and with, can I say, with an own standing. So contributing on the equal footing with the director on the set, or with the colleagues. If we have the more, let's say, less hierarchical structures, it's even more important that every actor arrives prepared. So when we do all this preparation, I can ask, we will speak later about different possibilities, different techniques, different exercises, and so on. But I can ask myself, do I prepare myself now to do something, or to get? It's a strange question. Somehow sounds strange, no? What does it mean? I prepare to do, or I prepare to get? And mostly, of course, and it's important to prepare to do, as I said, to go to the first meeting well prepared. Now I can also ask the question, what does it mean prepare to get? And now we come back to our initiation, to our intention, why I'm preparing. To receive, I can say, to receive knowledge, to receive artistic knowledge. And then I'm coming more in the direction that I am not only preparing for a role, but that I'm preparing myself as artist. This includes the question, of course, who am I? Now we're coming back to the self-initiation, because this is the question, of course, who am I as artist? How do I have my own definition? When I'm now planning to follow this question, I should, of course, the way to it is, and I'm coming now to the next selfie word, the self-education. So we can say from the mere self-preparation of the next role, I understand it's not only preparation. I'm going to the self-education. And so I have a long process, and this self-education, it's not just, I'm not speaking about taking one workshop more or less. It's not this very famous speaking of the last 10 years. It's now already gone, lifelong learning. Somehow, yes, go, continue, keep yourself fit, up to date. No, the self-education, what I'm speaking about, it's a change of mind. Meaning, I am defining and I feel myself responsible for the food, what I'm getting. Somehow I make definition what I need. And then I can go to the teachers. I'm not telling we don't need teachers anymore, but I know to which teacher and what to ask and what to ask for. And then I get to the process that I have a position to ask and to accumulate knowledge, what I need, and not what other people tell me what you need. And perhaps even more, I'm not going only to the position to getting knowledge, but to the position I'm creating knowledge. Because I am the master of my own process of education. If I'm coming now to this status that I'm master of my own education and deciding what I want to learn, in fact, I'm on the status already to the self-creation. So the whole process goes now to the next selfie, the self-creation. I know that this word is now already a little bit contaminated, because this self-creation we have in these days, the Instagram people who self-create themselves with some clicks and say, here I am, and get very famous. So this selfie world right now has always a little bit a strange taste. So let's just take this apart. I'm aware of it. And go back to this most seriously understanding that I am going on the way to create myself. And then it's, of course, the question comes the moment, when can I say, not I created myself, because I think it's an endless process, but that I can say I'm an artist. I'm a theater person. I belong to the world of theater, and no one can doubt it. And this is what I would call the moment of the actor's self Now I even don't know the word anymore. The self-initiation. Now I spoke about so many selves that I don't know anymore about what I'm speaking, so much selves. The self-initiation that I can say, I am, I belong. And I don't question, I don't ask for the diploma, because we will perhaps later come to it. What happens to the people who tell you that you are now a professional actor or not? Who can tell you? I think only you yourself, that at least that you can say, I'm an artist. I will leave it now to this moment. My very personal explanation to this line, because I think it's a quite important line right now in these times where people are isolated and much more put into this position. I'm alone, I'm myself, I have the computer, and I look around what I can get to educate, to develop myself. And perhaps this is not a bad school. So let's take some positive from this strange situation, what we are right now in. I would like to pass on now to more observations on this theme.
Thank you, Christine. It was really, you opened really a lot of, in the same frame, in the same, speaking really precisely about one subject, you opened several, because you opened the ocean of self-creation, self-education process. It's really quite huge path and subject of discussion for the actors, I think. At the same time, when you were speaking, you touched two points that interesting me really very much. One is the moment when I starting the process and I'm near to the final goal. I'm not already transformed. I'm in between. This one point which always interests me very much, because it's the center of the process, indeed, of the initiation. Initiation is starting, is working, is going, but at the same time, it's not already ended. I'm not already after it. In this moment, in this passage, it's quite strong question mark as well. What happening? What really happened? Artistically, as actor, as really as artist, as creator of my own life on the stage. Then at the same time, it's come to me, it's quite really always, I don't know why I'm mixing this kind of thinking. It's in the very, not in the very beginning, let's say in the last century, in the beginning, how the actors could define themselves. It's, of course, probably not in the knowledge understanding what you spoke. What could define actor, or how the actors define themselves in the age of the Stanislavski, for example? It's this is another question again, in the how they start to define I'm actors, I'm professional. It's again, it's quite really interesting. So I think Olga could jump now in the discussion now, because you know she know quite well about the conflict between what was dilettantism, what was profession in that time, and
well, I think that there are many people in this meeting today that know much more from, you know, purely historical and theoretical perspective. I want to speak as a practitioner and to answer this main question, the question of actors' initiation and the dialectics between initiation of actor and actor's self-initiation, which Christina was speaking about, which in fact I would like to you know, double check and to question, because I do understand initiation as the act of becoming, as the act of transforming, from this point of view, the question remains, and I want to underline it again and to focus all our attentions on the same thing. The question remains, when and how is actor initiated, right? And who is to witness this initiation and to have a say on if this initiation is, good enough or not, if you're indeed an actor or not. So there are many possibilities to look at it. One school of thought in theater can argue that you must be born as an actor, right? That there is some special component of your psychophysics that is to some degree visible if you do a selection seminar in the school, if you're doing casting for some particular project and so on. Probably from the other point of view, it's something that is not connected exactly to what do you know and where did you learn and with whom you were formed as an actor during school years, but is more as a some event in your artistic experience, in your theatrical practice, which strikes you as as a moment of discovery, is the moment of insight. So also quite a ritualistic process. But I think that to from one point of view or another point of view is still, it's unavoidable, is the component of education that takes a huge part in the process of initiation into being an actor, becoming an actor. So from my little speaking today is exploring this perspective, is exploring this parallel between initiation into the acting and education, because the subject is quite hot through everyone who is with everyone who is working in in acting education and with anyone who is becoming an actor, especially in those really crazy times to become an actor. So education is under the question mark, not without reason. I mean, we witness in many different theatrical schools. I mean, we also, as the World Theatre Training Institute, and we base a lot of our research and work on that, on understanding the processes of education, the actors, directors, theater teachers in the contemporary world. But we witness a lot of disappointment in education, in existing educational models, in understanding that they're not working or they're too conservative, and so on and so on. Therefore, it's not the question of rejecting, of course, professional education as such, but it's the question of reevaluation, reinvention of acting education, and to do so somehow it's really probably here this historical perspective that Riccardo mentioned comes in hand, because it's really, I believe that Stanislavski is something that that never gets old, because he got several things right, to my mind. That's why he never gets old. He got several things right, and first of all, he got right the idea of this very special component, this very special, magical, almost undefinable component of creation as such, of artistry in a higher sense, laying somewhere in the field of some subconscious, somewhere in the field beyond our mundane, profane understanding. And he really took the time of his life to organize the point of view of theater practitioners, that the acting is in fact a profession, is in fact a set of huge set, in fact very big set of different skills and competences and number of artistic requirements, number of ethical requirements, extremely important, right, for Stanislavski, and numbers of exercises, methods, technique, and so on and so on and so on. So somehow legitimizing in this way, giving sense, making sense out of the process of becoming an actor. So I like very much this this red line that you find in all the practices that somehow base themselves on heritage of Stanislavski and all the writing of Stanislavski. You feel this red thread of becoming an actor, meaning reaching the unlimited powers that lay in the territory of unconscious. In this way, the process of initiation into the acting becomes the process of becoming a good friend with the power of this unconscious, magical, creative, and so on and so on. The becoming an actor, meaning becoming someone who tamed those forces, who found a way to become a collaborator with those forces. And from this perspective, we understand the very simple, brutal, and primitive truth of this cliche, which says everyone who is educated as an actor, everyone who is an actor has an education, but not everyone who has education necessarily becomes an actor. So this is the process stretched in time and requiring a lot of very precise, very defined steps on the way somehow to before anyone can really become an actor. But what I like also about Stanislavski is that it's really the first thing you read when you just decide to, or you're asked to go and figure out something about Stanislavski. Especially if you read Russian, you have a huge amount of text in front of you. But somehow in the beginning of all this line of development of different, of different systems, of different elements of the system, there lies this very little chapter on dilettantism. This is what Riccardo mentioned before, this chapter on this moment of accidental meeting with a force which is so much bigger than all my attempts, all my knowledge, than anything that really makes me fall in love with the profession. So this moment of highest inspiration is a very crucial notion for our school, right? So this moment of meeting with this inspiration, and Stanislavski is he understands the non-mundane nature of this power, of this meeting, of this moment of really being struck by this power. But he, of course, the book is written, and Stanislavski is working in a particular times, in a particular social, political, cultural context. He says, but this, I'm practitioner, and this is something from that people of science will answer us in 100, 200 years. Because it's something that science will figure out, and well, he is prophetic in this sense, because he predicted that science indeed will be extremely interested in the process of creativity. What the hell is really going on in our brain, in our mind, in our bodies, all the intricacy of the mechanisms. that are indeed the creation. But of course, it's not only this, it's not only the question of physiology, it's not only question of this type of scientific approach. It definitely has the component of ethical understanding, of philosophical understanding, of spiritual power and a spiritual empowering, which is, to my understanding, always associated with the moment of defining yourself as an actor, and probably it's even possible to say in this moment as an artist, in a higher, right, in a broader sense, in a broader perspective. Somehow, to close the loop, we see that the education, although of course this was our, I would say, this is the first and the most banal truth that we can agree on. Of course, it's not the diploma, it's not the paper, it's not even the name or the renommee of the school or the teacher that you had education with. It's not the bureaucracy in the process of becoming or initiating yourself into the acting as a profession, as a mission, as a vocation. But the education, the formation, the journey, the exploration, of course, has to take place. The question is how to make our existing, system of education, our existing methods of education, really to become to be up to the standards of this sort of acting initiation. I'm speaking about now the sacred component to this word, which means highest degree of seriousness, of concentration, of commitment, and some highest point of tension of different artistical, ethical, spiritual powers, because this is the idea of initiation from purely anthropological perspective. This is what is the initiation. It is the process of separating from your previous self in order to be reborn in a completely new quality through the process of transforming, not only gaining skills, method, tricks, but really to being reborn completely and changing all everything about your inner and external self. In one of the most basic definition of let's say initiation as a rite of passage, right, as a ritual, according to, let's say, Turner. You might know him, and you might know his influence to the theoretical and practical work of theater director Schechner. So he has very interesting perspective on understanding of this process of seeing this rite of passage as divided into at least 3 very clear stages. The stage of separating from your own self. This is the question: who has to die for you to become an actor? I think this is also something to be answered. Second stage is the stage of liminal time, liminal space, liminal meaning not defined, where all the borders and all the notions, all the frames are absolutely liquid, transparent when you are becoming. This is what also Riccardo mentioned before, right? This is very important stage of becoming an actor, when you are in between 2 identities. And then the last stage is the stage of becoming, of gaining and reintegration, according to Turner, reintegrating into the new identity, status, role, and so on. So it sounds very, very beautiful, and we can refer artistically or hypothetically or practically, maybe through our own experiences. But I think what is very important in this process of cultivating, empowerment of actor is self-creator. Actor, I do agree. At the same time, let's not forget that in any process of such kind of transformation, meaning separation, liminal phase, reintegration, there is always a presence of some factor, usually a person, who plays the role of a transportation, of someone who accommodates, who facilitates this flow through the stages, who is by his very basic definition somehow the guarantee that this process will happen. And from ritualistic point of view, it doesn't depend on the on the quality or characteristic of this. It's not personal. It's just simply the existence of this other who helps you to get your transformation right. And this again brings us back to the question of education, to the question of education and traditional way of the whole complexity of becoming an actor as a very practical relationship between the student and the teacher, between the master and apprentice, and so on. And the thing is, again, I understand the necessity to question this relationship, again, because of overused power that teachers, masters exercise in this processes, because of many different and sometimes painful aspects in this process. But if we can help ourselves to a little bit to step back from the context and from everything that we know about it, and just to look at the pure proposition again of the initiation and of the person of who is this facilitator in this process, his role is to simply be there for you, to play his role in this mirror of a cosmic hierarchy of powers which there is, which is beyond than our personal relationship, to organize for you the possibility, the context, the air, the atmosphere for you to exercise your own power of self-creation. Somehow from Eastern school of philosophy, which I think is quite close in many ways to some of the best ideas in Russian school acting education approach, because it's heavily based on the relationship between master and students. There is a clear understanding of this role of the teacher. The role of teacher somehow is to give chance for students to realize that the teacher is not necessary. So the role of teacher is basically, or the mission of teacher is to dissolve, to disappear eventually. And this is very beautifully is accumulated into one joke that can also answer this question of who is there to tell you if you are actor already or not, and if teacher is necessary in this process. I will just finish with this joke. Russian people have a lot of jokes, and they use any opportunity to tell them, and they usually never work because it's extremely difficult to translate literally, and it doesn't work. But I will try. It's the anecdote about a young apprentice, strong, talented young man who was looking for a very famous teacher of martial arts who lived somewhere high in the mountains in China. And he took a long journey and tried to beg the teacher to take him as his student. And he, after many, many days of travel, completely exhausted, he found the house of the teacher. He knocked on his door and he said, "Please, teacher, let me be your apprentice." And Teacher said, well, first you have to learn to jump into the air 5 meters high and levitate. And the student said, wow, it's really impossible. I will do my best, I will try. And he goes back down from this mountain, and he spends years and years of training. And he comes again next year to the teacher and says, I manage now to jump quite high, maybe 1-2 meters. Please take me. And she said, no, 5 meters. And the guy repeats the whole journey again, and comes the next year, says, I'm almost there, 3.5, sometimes 4 meters I managed to live it. So 5 meters, and then call me again. And again, this man does, and in the end, he manages to do that. He manages to do this impossible. And he comes back to the mountains, and he goes up high, and he knocks on the teacher's door, exhausted, but beautiful, with such an inspiration in his face. And he jumps up high, and he levitates in the air. And the teacher says, wow, that's it. That's the end of the job. So meaning that it's not up to some, specific actions that the teacher does sometimes. It's definitely not up to specific opinions that the teacher has. But it's the idea, sometimes the symbolic necessity of the figure of someone else for me to get my intentions disciplined in the direction of reaching this idea, this dream of becoming this professional I'm dreaming of becoming. And simply the idea of this teacher is necessary there for me to proceed on this way. And looking retrospectively, I understand that of course it's not straightforward. It's not because of him I became who I am. I became who I am because of me. So this is my somehow take for today on, the process of education of the actor, the process of initiation, and my attempt to define who is there. So I do understand the position of empowering of the actor. I do understand the reality in which many actors exist in the day of today, of corona pandemics, of horrible realities in professional education all over the world, and not only in acting, in all the artistic practical professions, and at the same time, I would believe in renaissance of the professional actors education through our own reevaluation and the reestablishment of our criteria, of the balance of powers and the hierarchy in these processes. So yeah, I don't know if I answered your question.
Yes, no, yes, more or less, because you open a new subject in the end of your speaking, which was the position somehow of the teacher, which is quite connected with what Christina was speaking before. Let's say practically, if I'm the one that pretend to be initiated, I should have someone that not follow me, that it's moving me, that is with me. This teacher practically, which exercise, which concrete stuff elements could propose to me in this initiation, if we speak about the actors. So which could be the tools of the self-preparation in this case, because if it's belong to me, it's self-preparation. And this is question. It's Christina. Before you spoke about the practical exercise, the practical method, practical system, what we can use as practitioner to move us forward. to be prepared, to arrive ready to the rehearsal or to the set or wherever we should be ready.
Yes, I referred to it, and of course, I mean, all the three of us have practiced a lot of in the different sorts of these exercises. But before I come to some practical example, I would just like, I like very much how Olga opened up this theme. And I think it's not at all in conflict to what I said before. It's elaborating mainly, and this is what I like, the paradox. Somehow this paradoxal way, how now Riccardo put it, that we as teachers work somehow on our own, somehow that we not become not anymore necessary. We are necessary, but in a very different way, and really changing the image of the teacher. Of course, there is this old saying, I think it's Buddhist saying, if you meet your teacher, kill him. This is from the Far East. It's of course overcoming somehow the teacher, so that the teacher knows my task is to make the student better than I am. And here I think I see a very important moment, that every teacher must work on this position on the giving up hierarchy, because we all like to have a certain power, and it's very beautiful to have a lot of young people around you and they all listen you, and it makes you strong and feel good, and you love them and you like to guide them, to lead them, and sometimes you like probably a little bit too much to lead them and to tell what to do. And in this respect, this word, what you introduced, Olga, the facilitator, it's very important. I'm witnessing the process, I'm facilitating the process, I'm constantly, in fact, I'm protecting the person by sending the person constantly away and say, you should think. I think this is this paradox of I want to give, I want to teach, I need to give you exercises, tasks. But now it's the question, if I'm giving a task and the student is doing this task, most of the time then when it's finished, or the exercise, student is, well, hot, red face, happy, and looks at the teacher, how was I? And then somehow it sounds a little bit strange to the people when you answer how you felt. And I know in the beginning of my career, then they said, "Oh, you're lazy. You give the question back. I already worked on stage. Now it's your turn to work and tell me analysis." And I said, "No, only you can say if you succeeded or not. I told you to jump 5 meters high. You know exactly yourself that it's only 3.5 meters. What you're speaking about. But I give you this task because I love you." And I think this is the quite important point, that we as teachers constantly invent exercises, tasks, proposals to the students, to not only that they make them, but that they become more and more independent on our estimation, on our I like it or I don't like it. It's absolutely not important. Sometimes perhaps it's important that I say, yes, this makes sense, or I support these steps because they go in the right direction, or better stop because, well, believe me, it's really going wrong direction. But even this could be already dangerous. Perhaps I'm not so clever at the student. So it's a very, very delicate process, which I personally like very much, constantly to discover more and more that I have my knowledge, I should create exercises, but I should never impose my knowledge completely on the other person. That this freedom must be. And then I'm coming to this, what, for instance, Olga said, someone should guarantee, should listen and look and guarantee that the process happens. Yes, I like this image very much. At the same time, I think I have never the right to say you are not an artist. I can have my doubts, but who gives me the right to really say not? And I just want to remind you, because when we were speaking about this subject, this wonderful little scene in The Seagull, when Kostya comes to Mama Arkadina, please make me a new bandage. And she is very ironical about it, and because her wonderful son even is not able to make a correct suicide. But then they end up in, somehow they end up in scandal. But this is, let's say, outside story. He says there, Mama, I have talent. And no one listens. Only this one young man knows I have talent. And the most suffering is absolutely no one believes in this talent. No, well, we can send Dorn somehow. But this very, very strong impulse that someone knows, Mama, I have talent. I think I have not the right to cut this wing if a young actor really feels it. I'm absolutely with Olga, with the whole line that we should look about professionalism, support about skills, how to do the profession. Yes, absolutely. And at the same time, I like to speak for the anarchistic variant, to say, let's open up. Who knows? Who knows new formats? And then we come to the, let's say, other relationship of teacher is student of the student, and student is teacher of the teacher. Anyways, so this was just my comment to this one. Of course, now it's only one teacher's talk. But of course, the things, for instance, when we're speaking about the vertical of the role, it's the very, very classic long process where I am, for instance, as teacher, giving tasks, and then it's up to the student to do this task. Absolutely. I move forward. I move forward and say, now it's next step, now it's next step, now this step makes sense. Stop it, don't go in the trap of the old stuff, of your old practice. Think differently. So somehow, when I'm teaching the vertical, for example, I'm mainly taking away all cliché and saying, look for yourself, look where you are, go forward. And perhaps some of the people then find, let's say, their way, their theme. Because somehow the vertical of the role, of course, it's very much connected with one role. And just yesterday we spoke about the subject of theme. The theme of the role, mainly it's the theme of your own life. And if I can, as teacher, give exercises how people find their own themes, how their own lives, for their lives, this is, I think, the way. When it will happen, that this very specific moment when Olga spoke about the 3 stages, yes, it will happen, I think, one time, very strongly, that people know, now I am. And at the same time, I think it's an endless process. It might come back and come back, because I'm sure the doubts come back as well. Am I artist? And I need another process of initiation and self-initiation, and need another moment. So I think it's endless process, and a lot of exercises. Yes, I just mentioned now the vertical of the role, but we have the possibility, what Yuri developed, to ask questions to the role, to be very active next to the director. We know, of course, our exercise, my theater, so that we start with young actors to really make definition, what is my theater? And from there it starts. Because before, if you don't have an image, what you want to do in this world of theater, it in fact makes no sense to talk about and to teach. So this is now, of course, I can only touch, because all these, let's say, the steps and the long-term exercises, this is what we are doing then in longer processes. So I can only touch them shortly here. And perhaps we can also open the questions.
I want to add that it's obviously a huge advantage and I'd say beautiful image, and I think the guarantee of really amazing future in of our profession is this shift towards the methods and tools through which we can empower actors, and if we would not be so late with them, probably we will not feel so miserable in these Corona times. Because now this course of thinking of how to empower actor students is you know, it's being solved in emergency mode in many schools. Well, for many schools, many schools found their own somehow way, and but everybody still sees, or most tendencies to my ideas, they're still in, we see it as a temporary process. We see it as it will finish, and everything will be back to normal. And biggest names in theater world today, in theater, you know, industries, biggest name, biggest masters, biggest talents, Castellucci and so forth, they speak about, no, it's not the real theater at times. It's impossible. We're only growing the hunger to come back and to do theater as we used to. And when Thomas Ostermeyer was asked in the frames of one of the public discussion that was happening in the frames of festival Territoria, is a huge Russian theater festival. He was asked, what is your practical advice for actors and director students in these times of pandemic? What to do? They have to start theater, and or in our terminology of today's talk, right? They have to be initiated into the profession in a completely twisted and ungrateful circumstances. So, and Ostermeyer said, try to stay at school as long as possible. Try to find ways, go get another degree, find a way, speak to your teacher, speak to your rector of your school, find a way to stay in the school. And it's like, I was a little bit like, it's not really the great artistic solution you would expect from one of the greatest minds in contemporary theater. And I was disappointed at first, but then I actually thought, but wait. It's probably we should a little bit shift and find our peace with the contemporary circumstances from the point of view of finding the beauty in this incapacity to do things in how we are used to, in this incapacity to somehow finish our initiations, finish our educations, somehow to get stuck in this field of liminality. Because as from my perspective, and you can see it also from our online theater academy, that I do research and I do teach a lot of things connected to the subject and the phenomenon of improvisation and different. So for me, this is one of the biggest treasures for improvisation, is this capacity not to be ever defined, not to be ever captured, not to be ever named. Okay, now you are ta. Here's your passport. Everything is clear and square. Why? Who told us so? Why to have a name by all means is so valuable? It's so old-fashioned. In fact, I love the writings of Bauman, probably you know about Bauman, who works with the concept of liquid modernity. So somehow liquidity, liminality is in a way, it is our reality, and to enjoy it, it's up to us to tune into this idea of not building constantly our identity, but probably to avoid being named. Of course, it has its destructive side as well. And if you read Bauman, he's super skeptical about it, in fact. But I suddenly opened the beauty of undefined, the beauty of recognize the beauty of improvisation in it, the beauty of being in the moment in it, stopping taking yourself so seriously all the time, stopping being, you know, the one that gives badges. This is the director, this is the actor, this is the and it's not enough to become an actor. It's important to become a good actor, because after you're an actor, you will be always badged and labeled, you know, with a good or bad, or and so on and so on. So I don't know, it's just something that brings me a joy, this understanding that we can find ourselves in this, you know, total liminality, this coronian liminality, which are these times for theater, and remove the tension of emergency. Well, not from practical point of view, from our social, from our responsibility towards our socium and so on. Not from this point of view, but from point of view of the blockages of our creative powers. This is what I mean. I mean the harvesting the best fruits for nurturing our you know, artistic thinking. So it's the question of thinking, first of all, not about some specific exercise. So yeah, this might comment on the practical things. Maybe not. It's not exactly a recipe, but you know, it's also something that I think worth cultivating and educating today in these times. Thank you so much for everybody who took time to join us. Really a huge joy to see the faces that are coming back and the new faces. Thank you very much for taking your time to be here today.
Thank you again. Stay in contact.
See you soon.
Yes, thank you.
Yes. See you soon.
Bye-bye.